The Throsk Imperium exited faster than light travel at the edge of the Epsilon system without warning.
This sector belongs to the Imperium. Exterminate their orbital platforms and open the way.
Admiral Stephen studied the incoming sensor data with the detached calm of a man staring at a chessboard, not a battlefield.
Begin full evacuation of the outer colonies. Pull the fleet back to the secondary marker.
On the surface of Haven, columns of civilian transports lifted off in perfect synchrony, leaving behind empty streets and untethered power lines. The human fleet executed a textbook fighting withdrawal, trading space for time, never committing to a decisive exchange.
They abandon everything. This is not a war. It is a rout. Send word to the homeworld. Our victory is inevitable.
Sir, at this pace, the Imperium will reach the core worlds within 6 months. We have to fight.
Let them come, Captain. The opening move is not the game.
Over the weeks that followed, the Imperium consumed 3 more frontier systems. Each fell faster than the last.
They run like prey. Their core worlds will fall before the season turns.
Captain Reyes reported the final covert sensor net had been seeded across the evacuated zones.
Good. Every quiet system is a page in a book they haven't learned to read yet.
But on the refugee moons, patience was wearing thin. Whispers of a leaderless retreat spread through the overcrowded domes. A tired colonist scrawled on a digital wall. "We are not retreating, we are abandoning." The message went viral.
Every world we take is stripped bare. They leave nothing. It is not strategy, it is fear.
Sir, the people are losing faith. We need to give them something to believe in.
Faith is a luxury at this stage. What we need is time, and time is what we are buying.
Stephen's calm remained an unreadable cipher, but the clock was ticking, and the galaxy had no idea what he was building. 1 year into the retreat, Lieutenant Cade's team planted dormant defense pods in the darkness of an abandoned asteroid belt.
These pods will sleep until the signal. If we do it right, they'll never know we were here.
The net is spreading, Lieutenant. Every pod is a future locked door they'll never expect.
Another empty system. They strip everything. Mines, factories, data cores. It is as if they want us to have nothing.
His tactical officers nodded. They saw efficiency, not preparation. To maintain the illusion, Stephen authorized a limited engagement in the Cygnus sector.
We'll lose ships today, Captain, but we need them to believe we're still fighting.
A futile gesture. Their losses confirm their desperation. The end is near.
The skirmish cost 3 frigates and 120 lives. It bought another month of Threx's overconfidence, and in the quiet of a dozen dead systems, the real war was being built without a single shot. Year 2. The retreat corridor stretched 100 light years, too thin, too deliberate.
Supply lines. I did not conquer a dozen worlds to wait for freighters. Push the fleet forward.
In the human command center, Stephen finally called his senior staff to a sealed briefing.
Every system we gave them has been prepared. We are not retreating, we are drawing them into a killbox.
A killbox? The entire war front?
Compartmentalized. You'll know your piece, no more. Trust the framework.
The map on the wall transformed from a record of loss into a schematic of revenge.
Admiral, our supply convoys are stretched to breaking. We must consolidate.
Consolidate? We are on the verge of breaking their spine. Advance. That is an order.
They think they are winning. That's exactly where we need them.
Tactical Officer Varn worked late in his quarters, cross-referencing the pattern of abandoned systems.
Too clean. Every world stripped down to bedrock. No debris, no data, only silence.
The silence had a shape, and Varn was beginning to trace it. In the Viridian sector, an alien supply convoy suddenly lost pressure across 6 fuel lines. The freighters drifted, bleeding propellant into the void. A quarter of the fleet's advance fuel went dark. Sector Command reports catastrophic fuel loss. Entire convoy compromised. Advance fleet stalled. Request emergency fuel transfer.
Sabotage. Find them, or I'll have the sector commander's head.
Threx's roar echoed through the bridge, but no one had answers. The fuel crisis had struck the Vanguard hard.
These systems, they weren't emptied in panic. They were prepared.
Varn saved the file under a private encryption, determined to present irrefutable proof before speaking. Varn requested a private audience with Threx, presenting his analysis of the systematic evacuation pattern.
Grand Admiral, the humans did not flee in panic. They evacuated methodically, stripping every resource, every piece of data.
You bring me theories when I require results. This is not strategy. It is cowardice. They run because they cannot fight. If you value your position, you will never speak of this again. The fleet moves forward. That is my final word.
Threx dismissed Varn with a glare that promised consequences. The bridge crew averted their eyes. Meanwhile, human listening posts intercepted an alien patrol that had strayed dangerously close to Depot 7.
Increase counterintelligence. Deploy false emissions to draw them away. We cannot afford another close call.
Sir, if they had found that depot, the entire corridor would have been compromised.
They didn't. Trust the framework, Captain. Our margins are thin, but they hold.
In the silence of his quarters, Varn stared at his encrypted file, the proof he could not use. Lieutenant Cade's team slipped aboard an alien communications relay, planting fabricated fleet movements.
The decoy is set. They'll see a massive human armada massing at the final stronghold.
The false intelligence reached Threx within hours, framed as a lucky intercept by a loyal captain.
At last, they commit to a stand. Full pursuit. I want their fleet crushed before it can form.
A human listening post intercepted a tight beam transmission originating from Varn's personal cipher.
Varn is reaching out to someone high in the Imperium. This could unravel everything.
The message was fragmentary, but its intent was clear. Varn was seeking allies.
We need eyes on Varn, but we can't tip him off. Let him think he's unseen.
The decoy had worked. The Imperial fleet accelerated deeper into the corridor, hungry for the kill. But Varn's shadow war had begun, a threat Stephen could not yet counter. The Throsk Vanguard dropped out of FTL at the edge of the final stronghold, greeted by a wall of human warships.
Grand Admiral, enemy fleet estimated at over 2,000 capital ships. They are waiting for us.
So they finally stop running. All ships, full assault formation. This ends today.
In the human command center, Admiral Stephen watched the alien fleet commit to the attack.
Activate Protocol Killbox. Send the trigger signal to all dormant assets.
From a relay ship buried in the void, the activation code shot down the corridor. A ripple of blue light.
Signal confirmed, Admiral. All units acknowledge. The corridor is waking up.
Aboard the Imperial flagship, Tactical Officer Varn's console began to register new contacts behind them.
Impossible. These signatures were inert. The systems we passed should be empty.
Stephen's trap was closing, and the Imperium still believed they were the hunters. Alarms erupted on the Imperial flagship as a cascade of signals ignited behind them. Sensor buoys, mines, weapons platforms, all waking at once.
Grand Admiral. Multiple hostile contacts. Behind us, every system we passed is activating. We are cut off.
Impossible. Scan again.
The holo display transformed. The corridor behind them solidified into a wall of hostile red markers, severing their retreat.
Forward contacts. The human armada ahead is a decoy. Minimal power readings. They are hollow shells.
What?
Human fleets decloaked at point-blank range, weapons hot, englobing the Imperial Armada.
All vectors report overwhelming hostile tonnage. Any breakout attempt will result in 90% losses.
The Killbox was sealed. The Imperium's Grand Armada, which had conquered a dozen systems, was now a fleet of prey.
They planned this. 3 years of retreat. All of it.
Threx ordered a breakout thrust, but human warships materialized on every flank, locking weapons.
All ships, full power, break through their line.
A full human torpedo salvo lanced across the lead cruiser, shredding shields without detonating on the hull.
Lead cruiser neutralized. Their targeting is surgical. They are not missing. They are demonstrating precision.
Reroute immediately. Find another gap.
Human fleets shifted with seamless coordination, plugging every escape route. There was no gap.
All vectors locked. Any continued attempt will cost 90% of the fleet. We have no path.
For the first time in his career, Grand Admiral Threx said nothing. The bridge fell into a suffocating silence. Then, a priority hail cut through the panic. The emblem of Admiral Stephen himself filled the main viewport. Every officer froze, their next move no longer theirs to make.
Grand Admiral Threx, I am Admiral Stephen. The systems you took are now armed. You are surrounded.
You dare threaten the Imperium. We will break your trap and crush you.
You have no path. We will not fire if you power down weapons and surrender your fleet.
Surrender. Never. All ships, prepare to fire.
Grand Admiral, our weapons are locked. They will annihilate us before we can fire.
Then find a way. I will not be the one who loses the fleet.
You have 5 minutes to comply. After that, the Killbox will be cleaned.
The alien bridge fell silent. Officers exchanged glances, the weight of the ultimatum pressed on every chest.
We have families waiting. There is no honor in useless death.
Threx's hand hovered over the comm button, his claw trembling. The choice was his alone. Threx's hand dropped from the comm. The old rage settled into something heavier, pride on the edge of a cliff.
Admiral, every escape route is locked. We have minutes left. There is no tactical alternative.
I have a daughter, Grand Admiral. She deserves to see her mother return. Please, we must consider their offer.
Is this what the Imperium has become? Begging for terms from a species we thought broken. Open the channel. Human Admiral, what guarantees do we have that you will honor your word?
You have none, but annihilation is certain if you refuse. I am offering you a choice you never gave us.
He speaks the truth. Their targeting solutions haven't wavered. If we do not comply, none of us go home.
The bridge was a pressure cooker. Every officer, from tactical to comms, stared at their Grand Admiral.
7,000 ships, 1,000,000 warriors. All of it, my legacy, rests on the next word I speak.
The claw hovered over the transmit key. The fate of a war front hung in the tremor of a single finger. The claw pressed down. A soft chime confirmed the channel was open to every ship.
All Throsk vessels. This is Grand Admiral Threx. Power down weapons, lower shields, and cease all hostile action. Execute now.
One by one, the Imperial warships bled their weapon signatures. Shields flickered and died. The Killbox grew silent.
Surrender code transmitted on all Imperial frequencies. They are acknowledging. Admiral, their guns are still hot.
Human targeting lasers remained locked, but no torpedo left its tube. The silence was the only guarantee they gave. Admiral Stephen watched the sensor feeds without celebration. The hard part was not the trap, it was the patience to let them believe they were winning.
Stand by. No one fires unless fired upon. The real victory is the one that doesn't need a grave.
They are holding fire. The fleet is disarmed. It is over, Grand Admiral.
Over. Yes. For the first time in my command, it is over.
A trapped fleet had chosen life. The Killbox did not burn. It waited, and in waiting, it won. Admiral Stephen opened a fleet-wide channel. His voice would reach every ship in the Killbox, human and Throsk.
For 3 years, we endured your advance. Every world you took became a part of the Killbox closing around you. We offer your warriors a chance to return home, not annihilation.
The words were measured, free of gloating. Threx sat in silence, the trap's weight pressing on him.
He does not mock. He speaks as if victory was never in doubt.
Threx's silence was louder than any defiance he had ever offered.
Disarm and go home, or leave your families with ghosts. We have no wish to add to the dead.
Stephen's calm filled the bridge. The killing field remained dark. The war was over.
We were never the hunters. 3 years, and they let us think we were winning.
Humanity traded territory it could retake for a fleet it could only catch once. Now, it would be given back. A formal dispatch was broadcast directly to the Throsk homeworld, carrying Admiral Stevens' complete address.
For 3 years, your fleets advanced through systems we deliberately left empty. Every world you claimed was evacuated, its resources stripped and repurposed to arm the corridor behind you. You won every battle. We only needed you to win them in the right direction.
The message transformed the corridor map from a record of loss into an anatomy of victory.
The 3 years you believed we spent fleeing were the 3 years we spent building a cage.
Humanity never lost those 3 years. It traded territory it could always retake for an enemy it could only catch once.
Your advance was the bait. Our retreat was the hook. Today, the trap is quiet because we choose mercy.
The message ended, and the galaxy finally understood what Admiral Steven had known from the start. The war was won, not by fire, but by the patience to let the enemy believe they were winning. Human patrols swept into the seeded systems, finding only silence and dormant Killbox hardware.
All dormant assets deactivated. Every system we seeded is now a monument, not a minefield.
On the reclaimed worlds, civilian transports touched down, unloading families onto soil they never thought they'd see again.
Every street we abandoned is now a promise kept. The trap is silent, but its purpose is complete.
The Throsk fleet, escorted by human warships, began its somber withdrawal through the very corridor it had conquered. Threx stood alone on his bridge, watching his armada move in the opposite direction than it had for 3 years.
We built nothing in our wake. They built a cage, and now they fill it with mercy.
The corridor of his greatest triumph had become the corridor of his greatest lesson, and it hurt more than any wound. Human and Throsk signals mingled on the tactical screens. Enemies now bound by a single thread: survival. The war was over, and the Killbox had become a memorial to the patience that made it unneeded. Admiral Steven ordered his flagship to the center of the now silent Killbox. No weapons hummed, no alarms cried.
The hardest part wasn't the trap, Captain. It was the waiting.
3 years of pretending to lose. It must have felt like a lie you could never tell.
Steven's gaze never left the empty space, but his mind replayed every evacuation order, every false retreat.
Every world we abandoned, every convoy we let them think they'd broken, it all had to be real.
He remembered the skirmish where 120 personnel were sacrificed to sell the illusion. The weight of that choice still sat in his bones.
I'd do it again because in the end, the Killbox never fired.
Because you built it so well, the fear alone won the war.
The silence of the Killbox became a monument to the patience that made annihilation unnecessary.
We didn't destroy them. We gave them a mirror and they saw themselves.
On a neutral station, orbiting a dead world, the leaders of humanity and the Throsk Imperium met to formalize the peace.
You spent 3 years leading us into a cage, and we never saw it. Your strategy was not of warriors, but of architects.
We just wanted to go home, Grand Admiral. All of us?
Threx regarded Steven with a heavy gaze. No victory lived in his eyes, only comprehension.
The Imperium will remember this lesson, Admiral. Patience is a weapon we have not yet learned to forge.
The treaty was signed in silence. The scratch of styluses, the only sound. A war that never burned had ended on paper.
It's over. After 3 years, the silence is our victory.
Reyes and Varn shook hands, a single gesture carrying the weight of 1,000 unshed tears.
Let the next century be one of corridors without cages.
As they parted, the station lights dimmed, leaving a fragile quiet, a peace earned without annihilation. Admiral Stevens sat alone in his quarters, a single lamp casting long shadows. He activated his final log.
Personal log, Admiral Steven. Today the treaty was signed. The Imperium is going home. We lost 12 ships during the long retreat, 6 in the skirmish alone. 120 lives spent to sell the illusion.
His voice didn't waver, but his hand paused over the console, as if weighing each name he could not unspeak.
For 3 years, I held a lie. I told the public we were fighting back, even as I ordered the retreat.
A holographic projection of the signed treaty hovered nearby, the ink still fresh.
The price was heavy, but in the end, not a single shot was fired in the Killbox. Every Throsk warrior will see home again. That is worth the cost.
He deactivated the log, but the silence that followed was heavier than any recording. For the first time in 3 years, Admiral Stephen allowed himself to simply sit and let the war end within him. On a world that had once been a Killbox trigger, a human child ran through tall grass toward the sunrise. No sirens, no shadows of war. Only the wind and the promise of a day that didn't need to be won by fire. Stephen's words from the broadcast returned. "You won every battle. We only needed you to win them in the right direction." The child stopped, turned to the light, and laughed, a sound that had been rationed for 3 years. The image faded into the stars, where the once dead corridor now carried mixed convoys of human and Throsk vessels. The Killbox had become a highway, and the silence that had been a trap was now the sound of peace. And somewhere, Admiral Stephen's log entry closed with a single line. "They came to conquer, and we gave them a corridor to retreat. That is the only victory worth having." The stars held their light, indifferent to the war that never was, and the one that ended without a fire. And the child kept running into a sunrise built by patience, not by gunfire. The story of the Killbox spread through the galaxy, becoming a legend whispered in diplomatic halls and on trade routes. Human academies began teaching the doctrine of patience, how to build victory from retreat and peace from the threat of annihilation. The corridor that once funneled an armada to its doom now carried mixed convoys of human and Throsk freighters. At neutral stations, Throsk merchants exchanged goods with human traders, their claws once raised in battle now counting credits. The Imperium, too, learned from the lesson, redirecting its military doctrines toward defensive cooperation. On distant Throsk worlds, construction turned from warships to habitats, and the war economy gave way to something gentler. Humanity did not erase their enemy. They gave them a reason to stop being one. The Killbox became a symbol, not of death, but of the patience required to avoid it. And the silence that had once been a trap was now the foundation of a fragile, enduring peace. The stars held their light, indifferent to the war that never was, and to the peace that would define a century. The last Throsk warships limped homeward, their hulls scarred by the voyage, not by weapons. Grand Admiral Threx stood alone on the silent bridge of his flagship. The conquest was over. No officers attended him, no alarms called. The weight of 3 years pressed into a single quiet.
They let us go.
The realization coiled through him, colder than any hull breach.
They had us in a Killbox, and they gave us a corridor home. What kind of species builds a trap and then refuses to spring it?
In the hush of his empire's retreat, Threx found no answer, only the memory of Stephen's calm voice, offering mercy.
We were never the hunters. We were the ones being led.
The screen darkened completely, and in the silent starfield, the camera pulled back until the flagship was only a speck among thousands returning home.